What is it now? The time flies so much. It was at the Swartkrop Air Show. I was there. I actually made up a little clip. I spoke to some of the, what we call dick neck pilots, and you're going to meet them there. Now, if you see the introduction, don't think I'm trying to introduce it. I'm just going to play the little clip. So let me just set this up to the little clip, and then if I can just get it right.
We will be commencing the opening of the Swartkrop Air Show 2016 wings over Swartkrop.
What an incredible base this really is. I must also say thank you to Diamond. That's the company that's put the marketing side, the production side together, to the team that have been working with us. A very, very big thank you.
Well, thank you, Charlie, and welcome to the Swartkrop Air Force Base, where we're busy with this great big air show. Now, as discussed in the last program, but I also am very concerned about aviation safety and also public safety. Here now is a fine example of a well-organized air show where safety, as always, is of paramount importance. I can clearly see the fence line with the crowd kept well behind the fences. Of course, there's a safety director, and he has a whole team with him. And they are there to monitor and to ensure that both on the air side and on the public side, everything is kept absolutely safe. They look at the flying aspects, they look at, in the case of an emergency, how that emergency will be handled, and then the run-of-the-mill things that occur over at an event like this, where amongst the public we get the odd scratch or bee sting, or perhaps fainting due to dehydration. All this is covered under the auspices of public safety. I hope that you're enjoying the program as much as what we enjoy presenting it for you.
Flying by 50 knots, approach speed run about 120 kilometers per hour, landing runway 0. Two with this stage at Swartkrop. We still have a northeasterly winds. Temperatures now increasing slightly, expecting maximum temperature today around about 24 degrees. Please, however, use sunscreen to keep yourself well hydrated throughout the air show.
Well, I think at an air show in particular, you are there to be a crowd pleaser and support your sponsor. The pressure put on you psychologically is to almost outperform your own capabilities sometimes. So I want you to be very cautious, take a really good, realistic look at your capabilities, and make sure that you contain your program and your sequence to exactly how you practice, and don't push the boundaries.
Hello, Charlie. First of all, thank you very much for inviting me to talk here. I've been flying for 40 years now. I think the things that I've learned, number one, is irrespective of whether you are the boss of a A340-600 or flying as a captain, even on your own in a Cessna 150, but you are ultimately responsible and accountable for your actions, not only towards yourself, but most certainly for the people around you and also the guys on the ground, to your loved ones as well. Then, of course, I didn't always apply those rules myself. I can go back to the year 1977 and 25th of January, when my level of experience exceeded my, or rather my level of confidence exceeded my ability. And guess what? The climb rate of the mountain was better than that of the airplane, and I quite successfully crashed the aircraft onto the mountain. I was very lucky and very privileged to stand here and talk about it. Other people are not. So do yourself a favor. Stick to the rules. Be disciplined at all times, and fly safe out there. Thank you very much.
Sure, there's a lot to say about safety at this stage. The South African Air Force, with this display and with this air show, we've commenced an aviation display course to help us put all things in place for the larger air shows like AAD. AAD itself is a large international expo. This is more a family air show. So we're utilizing this air show to prepare our young development pilots and ground staff and air traffic controllers in airshow management and airshow safety. At this stage, these people are all situated throughout the airfield. They're accommodated in the VOC, the Venue Operations Centre, the ECC, our Emergency Crisis Centre, and dispersed amongst the crowd and at our hangar out at 14 hangar. So we're using the airshow to validate the guys in preparation for our larger airshows in the South African Air Force. Thank you.
I'm a little concerned about general aviation at the moment because everybody is going for a tick in the box activity and they're not focusing on the safety related matters, because that goes about culture. The culture is basically to teach airmanship, a word that we've kind of lost touch with, and also safety. Be considerate, consider your environment, consider the impact of your actions.
Approach speed around about 125 to 130 knots, and bringing your speed now to around about 110 knots on touchdown. Around about just below 200 kilometers per hour on touchdown. And as a result, he doesn't have to use the drag chute. The Griffin, developed in Sweden, is developed to operate off of normal carriageway roads, and it can carry a full bomb load and get airborne from a normal road due to the rock displacement on the main wheels and on the double baby main wheel. There you can see our canards turn to the normal position after landing.
The food is around. Anybody crossing the food is around?
There we go, back on the air with me. There was still a little bit that I was waffling about on how good the guys were. Just one thing that I mentioned there is that when you see what other people are doing in air shows, don't think you can go and do it at home. Remember, I've many times said those are like circus acts. They're not clowns. They actually really do know what's spotting. So, all right. Let's step off that. Just something, you heard that Brandy Branders, he said that he's been flying for 40 years, but we've got 3 other people that's coming up to the 40-year mark as I hear it behind the scenes, and we're talking here about Frans Nel, we're talking about Lucas Wiese, and we're talking about Cassie. I just want to say to the 3 gentlemen, congratulations, 40 years, long time, and you've all done very well in the flying fraternity. And yes, we are looking forward to many more years. So, okay, Lucas, there's no retirement, okay? That's just one of those things. We've got to keep the youngsters flying, and we've got to tell them, you know, what to look out for. All right, when I step off that, I would like to go, and I just must set myself up right here. The topic I want to talk today, because we've got the airline pilots as well, and that's fine, guys, don't worry about that. But this is a topic that holds equally well for airline pilots or for your PPL that's flying at, well, anybody that's flying at night. I did a little bit of research on the CFIT. Now, if I just quickly carry on what the CFIT stands for Controlled Flight into Terrain. So there's just a definition. Controlled flight into terrain occurs when an airworthy aircraft under the complete control of the pilot is inadvertently flown into terrain, water or obstacles. The pilots are generally unaware of the dangers until it's too late. Now that's according to Skybury. All right, so let's just get the CFIT thing. That's all fine to understand the CFIT. And what I've noticed is just about all the accidents happened at night. It's in bad weather. If it's in the day, then it's in very poor weather conditions. But you know, there are the odd ones that people just didn't take notice. Flight into terrain for a helicopter pilot, especially in the game industry, you know, CFIT doesn't really fit in for a helicopter pilot, so I called it CFIS, controlled flight into something, because they normally hit something with the blades or with the tail rotor or whatever you will. All right, so I need you just to, although we're looking at here, remember when you lose situational awareness, and that's a word that we use very loosely. But anyway, let's see what's actually here. The commonalities. Night approach. All right. So the first thing is now we must start concentrating at night. Night with marginal weather conditions. Night VFR followed or during the final stages of the approach changes from IFR to VFR. You know, that's really like that. If you're in on an IFR approach, then you fly it up to the minimums as if you are, even if you can see. Because if you change, and I really found over that in the changeover, they're from, yeah, we're sitting and we're flying IF, and now if all of a sudden we are visual, then there are other traps, and we're going to talk about that, such as, for instance, the black hole phenomena. All right, we'll get to that one. When time's constrained, a rushed approach, and that you've seen many times because you pushed, you probably haven't got a night rating, you're going to get there after dark, you're rushing the landing for some other reason. Maybe you need to go to the toilet, I don't know. No review of the approach plates, especially with reference to sector safety, altitudes and clearances, and I really can't believe that, guys. If you're going to fly at night, and I know that you don't necessarily fly IF, but you've got to know what the minimum heights are. If you don't know the heights, then, well, you're going to get trapped into them. You can't see them always. And you haven't got night vision equipment to see. Yes, I know you've got all this fancy new equipment on board, but it's not 100% of a guarantee, I believe. All right, then there I've got my black hole. All right, don't worry, that's not the black hole that we're talking, non-adherence to company SOPs. So it's fine. Now we're talking about airline stuff. Yeah, the guys are not following the SOP. But that holds, you know, if Wally or Conrad, if they're going to fly aerobatics, they have their own SOPs as well. You don't overstep those. If you overstep those marks, you're going to pay for it somewhere along the line. We really don't want you to pay for it. We want to celebrate 40 years. We want to celebrate 45 years. We want to celebrate 50 years, 55. I don't know how many years you will last, but let's say 50 years of flying. Come on, guys. We've somewhere along the line got to get this one. If there's commercial pressure, that's always the problem. And the commercial pressure is sometimes self-made. So let's say, I understand from a commercial operator's point of view, but many a times our business people must fly from point A to point B, and then it becomes a crisis. They put it on themselves. So be really, really very careful not to go out there and create your own pressures. Those are the worst ones. As you know, the worst boss you can work for is yourself. Well, not everybody, but some of us. Now you understand, you know, what troubles I'm going through. Okay, flight below published minimas without adequate visual reference. Remember, I am taking it that you are qualified if you're flying, instrument flying. And I know that sometimes we do it and we blah, 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 and we can. I know you've got good equipment. The problem is when the good equipment is not good anymore. All right, but I've spoken about that before, so let's just carry on. Lack of appreciation of the black hole phenomena. Now, the black hole thing I'll show you now just in the next slide. Preoccupation with finding visual contact when visual contact is not possible. I mean, you know, so everybody is sitting outside, and this is where you get these meerkat attitude, and everybody is sitting outside looking, but they don't see anything. The moment that you start stretching your neck to look outside, you're not paying attention to the height, the speed, and all that kind of stuff. Just think about it a little bit. You know, there's certain things that one shouldn't do. But if I go over, I'll enlarge that one quickly for you. Yeah, when you've got bright light sources in the background, like there, and then the photograph does not entirely do justice to the black hole phenomena. I experienced physically the black hole phenomena one night in the northern flying sector with the Oryx. And boy, if it wasn't for that machine that got untold power, well, it probably could have been scribbled. Yeah, I was sort of lucky, you know, and I had a co-pilot. So that helped. It helped. You don't fly with extra eyes necessarily in the cockpit, and that short of the runway, that black hole, sometimes it is so intimidating that, and by the way, most of the aircraft that flies into the ground is on final approach. Nowhere else. That's what they do. Okay, that's bar for helicopter guys that are doing the game, or when you're playing around in the mountains, such as Brandy was telling you what he was doing. And remember, he said he was so lucky that he did survive that one. All right. A couple more commonalities. Let me just get them out there. Loss of situational awareness or spatial disorientation. Crews are caught up in the moment with around poor procedural performance. Failure to communicate with the aircraft. Oh my goodness. You know, it's fine. We say that communication is so important. Yeah, between people it is. But can you speak technical? Can you speak Mooney? Can you speak RV7? Can you speak whatever you're flying? Baron, whatever you're flying. Can you speak that language? Remember, you can only speak the language if you've got the knowledge. You must really understand what you are busy with. Insufficient crew cross-referencing and cross-checks. Okay, that's for the multi-crew. Now we're sitting in a single crew scenario. What do you do now? You've got to do your own cross-checks. You can't get busy with a passenger next to you and this guy and whatever. You've got to get busy with the things that will keep you alive. So for the students out there, as well as for everybody, we don't teach these things because we think we are great. We teach these things because we know that those things, if neglected, has led to the demise of many a person. Premature demise. Yes, because it's your decision. Now your decision must be what we teach is what you apply. Yeah, but you know, I want to fly a little bit outside and yeah, all right, man. I've said it before. We know that your aircraft can roll and you can do all those fancy things. Today I was flying a very, very fancy turbine at very high speeds, very high, and I was thinking, yeah, I'm back in the Impala seat, yeah, or the space shuttle, and you just got that urge. You want to roll this thing and loop the thing. And Les Daly just looked at me, and he didn't say anything. I didn't do anything like rolling it. Damn, but it was, you know, it's one of those things. Yes, you're going to get to the point where you think, I can do that. The difference is that, you know, I've been trained to do these things, but that aircraft is not clear to do it. So now I've got a choice. Either I can go what I think, or I can go with everybody else. I don't want to go with everybody else. I want to go with the rule, with the regulation, because that is the only way I can show my self-respect and the best chance of survival. Okay, that GPWS is Ground Proximity Warning System. All of you haven't got that, but now lately, obviously that is not a problem anymore. Okay, where are we now? Master your situational awareness. You know, when I take away that picture and you try and actually visualize everything that's on this specific picture in the background now, it's amazing. There are so many things that we're actually not really aware of, but it's there. So we are not superhuman. That's why they call us humans. They don't call us superhumans. All right? The super part of human is a figment of your mind. You've got something wrong in your mind if you think that you're better than the rest. You're not. We all bleed the same. We all stumble the same. And that's why there are rules and regulations. Not to spoil your sport, to keep you alive. And I've said that many times. It's nothing to you if you die. I mean, that's not going to be a problem. But the people that you leave behind, I don't want you to leave me behind. I don't want to leave you behind. So I've got to also pay attention. Everybody gets to pay attention. You don't, yeah, we say that you get old and bold and not old and bold pilots and all that kind of story. Sometimes we are lucky, all right? But mostly if we pay good attention, we'll be better off. All right, what I've done is I've allocated I took knowledge and skills and the human design and stuff like that, and I wanted to see out of these accidents, you know, what would be the contribution. And I need the purists out there, and Brandy and all the other guys, the human factor specialists. Please don't grind me for this. This is not, you know, I haven't done 17 researches to qualify what I'm saying, but it was quite interesting that I got the following, and let's just have a look at it. This is now the contribution. Remember, in this case, there are no technical problems. People in the CFIT, the aircraft is in 100% condition. Everybody's in 100% condition. The only problem is that they run out of sky. And normally the aircraft is on the losing part of this. But, you know, if I had to put a causality to it, what I found is, and it was, I found that the least of our problem is actually the skills. You know, when I get there, people say to me, yeah, but they PPL and they can't fly. They can fly. It is that they fly outside their scope that they were taught to fly in. If you stick to what you've been taught, you'll be really okay. And then this figure can come down to 0. It's not such a big deal. But I need you to understand that that is the important one. Look here, knowledge. That was about 6%, if I've got it right, and this is about 19%, just about 20% here. So between these two, you know, you look at a full 25%. Knowledge. Listen now, when I did the CFIT, it was the real guys. Yes, it was the airline pilots, it's the ATPLs. It's the CPLs with a lot of experience. This is where it comes from. There's no PPL in here. Okay? So, but remember, it holds good for everybody. A lack of knowledge. I can't believe it. People don't understand the let-down plates, how you're going to fly, and. Man, and then attitude. When I did this attitude thing, I said, okay, if you willingly and knowingly stepped over the line, that's bad attitude and that's ill discipline, and that is what I've said here. All right? And that was a full 25%. And then I got stuck, because in these, you've got now 50% of the accidents was covered and something there. And then after a while, I realized it's not human factors, it's human design. If you add all these things, then you can get to human factors. But I also wanted to say that human design is that you cannot walk on water. Neither can you float in the sky except with proper wings and an engine, or maybe a proper glider, or whatever the case might be. But if the cable breaks, you're gone. If you do not know the ground is coming up, you're gone. The ground will win every time. Okay, but now the question is, what do we do about this? And I just want to focus quickly, just a second, and go to this knowledge thing. How do we know, how do we overcome? Because remember, you say to me, but 50% is because we are just humans. All right, if we can cut out the other 50% of accidents, we've gone a hell of a long way. So how do we do that? I'm just going to give you one word there, and let me write it. Planning. Why do we plan? We plan to reveal to us what is the shortcomings Only planning can reveal which knowledge I haven't got or the skills that I do not have. Only planning can do that. Yeah, but we're doing it every week. Okay, you can have the same plan, but you must check the plan and you must stick to the plan. That's fine. But a lot of times we go out and we do haphazard flying. Now these aren't haphazard flying. I mean, these guys are really going to do laydowns and. But poor preparation leads to poor performance. Just poor performance. Yeah, that one. All right. Okay, so that's the end of the controlled flight into rain, and I can see I've overrun my time. Just something for the next month until we get, please. The safety initiative needs input. We need to make it interesting, and we need to be relevant. The guys that's out there, that's doing a lot of flying, that have learned through the lessons, please give us your input. I don't mind anybody can contribute, because this is not done for any financial gain. This is done for the gain of life. Until next time, have a nice evening here from the SEAMS studio.